Yo, this is it. I'm Mr. Fade, and you'll listen to Attack of the Beats on IllMuzik.com. Once again, another 5 beats, another 5 reviews, and before I get into that, I just want to mention that we now have the Beat It Up competition, the Beat It Up beat battle. Call it what you want, but it's Beat It Up. You can make fun of it, but it's Beat It Up. It's whatever. I thought it'd be cool. I don't know, whatever. But just try, I thought I'd flip it around a bit and call it Beat It Up. So what it is basically, you just upload your beat or beats. You have 3 beats you can upload per week, let's say, or per cycle. And out of those 3, I'll pick the best one I find, and the other ones I'll discard. Or if you don't get picked that week, your beats will be carried over to the following cycle or whatever. And so you'll just be picked at random with 2 other people. So it's a 3-person battle. And then, so then I make a video with those 3 beats, just a simple video, but it's got the 3 beats in them. And then they're on YouTube. Then I'll put a thread and a poll so that all the members can vote for the best beat. And by watching the YouTube video, so the advantage of that is that you have, it's a new beat battle. It's different, but also it gives you exposure on YouTube, which of course is, it's a huge platform. So it should give you a lot of exposure. So we'll see how it goes, because there's a whole YouTube issue with copyright and all that stuff. So we'll see if it doesn't work out too well. There's other alternatives, but for now we'll try YouTube and see how it goes. So if you want to check it out, just go to the forums. You'll see the posts. You'll see under the beat battle section, there's the beat it up section now. So just go and check it out. All right, so let's get into it right away. First up, we've got Andy with Rain on Us. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Andy with Rain on Us. All right, so for this one, I really like this beat. It's good. I wasn't crazy about the beginning because, sometimes you get these sounds or these certain synth sounds where, they kind of sound cheesy on their own or whatever. Once you blend them in with some other instruments, especially when the drums and bass come in, it sounds a million times better. So I think that's the case with this one. And it's a really good beat. I wasn't crazy about the background synth choir there because I don't know, I was just never a fan of those things. I mean, I remember first starting out with plugins and stuff, and they all have this by default. I mean, well, a lot of them do it by default. They have this choir synth thing, and I don't know, I just don't really see that being used in a lot of hip hop beats or any beat really. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to use that because it just sounds very synthy. You know what I mean? So like, if you're going to use something like that, for me, I would dirty it up or whatever, just something like that, because it's on its own. It's I don't know. But for what you did with it, it is good. You did use it properly. It's in the background. It's chilling there, so that's good. The drums and bass are good, although the kick, I would say, it could be a little less thumpy, but it does go very well with the bass. So props on that. And when you brought in that high pitch synth part, I immediately thought of like some West Coast style, but then I thought, wait a second, no, it just sounds like some Halloween Evil shit, So yeah, but anyway, it's a good beat. I like it, but yeah, maybe just the choir thing. I don't know. You could substitute it, but that's just my personal preference. But you did a good job with it, so yeah. All right, so next up we got Can't Keep Still with Diamond Suit. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Can't Keep Still with Diamond Suit. All right, so this one's interesting because it's a really good beat. I like it. It's funky and everything. But the first thing that stands out is the drums, because they just sound very low in the mix, very tame, very mild or whatever. And they're good. It's just that I would expect something a lot harder with that. I was just picturing some harder drums with the rest of the music, but just harder drums, and which would make it sound way better. But what you have, it is good, and I could definitely hear a rapper on top of this. Oh, for sure. But I just think, like, on its own, without vocals, without thinking about vocals, I would say definitely have some harder drums on this, something that's louder and stuff. And the other issue, though, is that maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I do hear some inconsistencies in the mix here, because listening to the horns and all, I can hear it's more to the left, I think. And then when you had the breakdown parts, I heard the drums, especially the snare, more to the left, and the main instrument was more towards the middle and all that. So I don't know. I mean, just check that out, because maybe it's just me, maybe it's my mixer. I've been having trouble with it, but anyway. But yeah, so maybe it's that. But check it out, because that's the way it sounded to me. So yeah, the breakdown parts were like I guess like your hook part or whatever, just sounded more to the middle versus the left before, and then the drums vice versa and stuff. So anyway, just check that out. But yeah, I think the main thing was the drums. I mean, I would try some harder drums, and keep the rest of the music. The rest of the music sound really good and all that. It's funky, but yeah, just try it out. All right. Okay, so next up we've got Krostevsky with Brisk. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Krostevsky with Brisk. All right, so this one's dope. I like this one because, first of all, the drums are really on point. I like that. They're nice and thick. They hit hard and everything. The bass, I would ease up just slightly on the bass, but overall it was really good. And you have some nice sounds in this beat, okay? And once you bring in the piano, that made a big difference. But there are a few things, because I could tell, like, you've got these chops from the piano, right? These little snippets from a piano sample or whatever, so you chopped it up. And it does sound good, but on its own, you can hear the chops, you know what I mean? Like, I've been through that a million times, you know, like, sometimes you just can't really do much about it. But once you brought the drums back in, you don't really hear it, which is fine, you know? So just watch out for when it's on its own or whatever. But it's just that tail end of that sample when you have the piano just at the end go like that part, even with the drums, I can still hear it. So I've even had spots like that where it's like, what do you do, right? Like for a sample, it's like, do you do that? Do you just play the same note a bunch of times to finish off that pattern? Or do you play it maybe once or twice and then delay it out? So try that. Maybe you'll like that better. I don't know. I mean, maybe it won't be better. I don't know. But I've done that myself. So like there's times where I'll just say, oh, if I can, I'll just put a delay, and that'll probably just solve my problems there and stuff. And a lot of times it does work, you know. So give it a shot. That's only the thing, really, you know, because it does sound really nice. It's just like I said, for me, you know, I'd want to be a perfectionist with this. I mean, I'm just gonna go and, you know, I'd want to clean that up and stuff, and because I do notice it, you know. So anyway, it's just an alternative for you to check out, and yeah. But otherwise, it's a dope beat. I like it, and those drums are really, really good. So next up, we got Memento Beats with Vendetta. Let's check it out.
Memento Beats on the track. On the track.
All right. Okay, so that was Memento Beats with Vendetta. All right, so I really like this beat. It's definitely on point. I do like the drums, and I like the way you put the whole beat together. You got a verse and a hook and all that stuff, so that's good. And but there's a couple of things, like for example, your bass line. It does sound really good and everything. It's just that what I tend to do when I have a bass that sounds like that, I don't know what kind of bass you have there, but when I have a bass like that, where it's not like a really like deep. Like a deep bass or whatever, is I'll take the bass the way it is, okay, and I'll add a low pass filter to it, okay, just a slight low pass, just a bit, because then it just kind of makes it a little deeper, a little more muffled, so it sounds deeper, right? It sounds more like a low end, because what you have, for example, is fine. It's just that I like mine to be a little deeper, so maybe try that, just a low pass, see if you like that little change, whatever. And the other thing is, the beginning, your samples, I can hear the clicks from the samples. So just be wary of that. And the main thing, though, was the classical sample you have. And the thing with that is that, when I first started making beats with samples, is that I would sample a lot of classical music. Okay, I used to do that. And the thing is, some of those songs back then, those compositions, when you listen to them, I mean, it's just the way it sounds, okay, the way it's recorded or whatever. Sometimes they sound kind of hollow or distant. So in your case, yours sounds like that, sort of. So it's kind of odd, when you mix that with, the rest of the instruments you have. So just be mindful of that, because that's something, that for mixing purposes, you should check into that or whatever. But the one on the hook was fine. But for the main one, I could definitely hear like some kind of distance or whatever. So but other than that, it's a really dope beat. I like it. And thumbs up. All right, so next up we got the last beat. It's Shock Row with Bullet Drop. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Shock Roll with Bullet Drop. All right, so for this one, I actually really like this one. It was well put together. That was the main thing here. You had a nice vibe for the whole thing. The instruments you used, the sounds you used, everything fit really well together. Although I do have to say, though, the drums, that's something like, for example, I know you have the snap on the snare, so you don't want to put that too loud. But I would like to hear the drums a little louder, because they were sitting kind of quiet in the mix and all that stuff. And as far as the mix, as I'm listening to the beat, it just kind of sounds like you just have the drums playing over all this music. You know what I mean? And it's I think we've all been through that, where I still do that sometimes, where I'll make a beat, and when I listen to it back after a while, it sounds like that. It sounds like I got all this nice music and I got these drums just sitting on top of it. So that's where mixing comes in, and it's pretty much trial and error. A lot of times I say it's garbage in, garbage out, right? Like you try not to fix it in the mix, right? You try to just record it like that. Try to record it nice so that you have, you try to use some good samples, good synths, good instruments, whatever. Just try to use some good things that just fit together with each other. So in your case, since it's already done, for mixing, well, that's a whole different thing, whatever. But what you can do is try to just EQ the drums a little better to fit the rest of the music. Now, I could be wrong. It could be also just because I do hear like it sounds like it has some reverb going on there all throughout. So I don't know if I can't tell if it's just on your drums or if it's the whole track that's got all this reverb, whatever. So so just look into that, because I do hear that a bit or whatever. But other than that, it's a dope beat. I do like it, and he did a good job putting everything together. And I like it when that synth choir part came in. Even though the first beat I was saying I wasn't crazy about that, but if you use it properly, it does sound pretty good. So in your case, yeah, it does sound really good. So props on that. All right, so okay, so that's it from me. I'm Mr. Fade. This is Attack of the Beats, and keep sending your beats in. I'll keep reviewing them. And my favorite beat is the winner is, drum roll please, Krostevsky with Brisk. Let's check it out.